Hello and welcome to the next tutorial of Angular series on this YouTube channel Jack of JavaScript. So in this tutorial we are going to see how the event binding takes place in your Angular application. Alright, so basically event is a if you have any button in your web page, right? So and when you click on that button some action should be performed, right? So we'll start with that. First we'll have a button, let's say hello. And now if I so it will look like this, right? Say hello. So I'll add a horizontal line with HR tag, right? So it will be distinguished. All right, so this is the button, right? But when I click on this button it does not perform anything, right? Because we have not assigned any action on this button, right? So as to add some action we should have a click event, right? So this is the name of the event, click, and it should be within round braces, right? And it should hold a function, right? Let's say uh, on hello is the name of the function, right? So on this click event this on hello will be called, right? So we'll have this on hello and it will have, okay, on hello, and first it will have this console.log, right? So when you call this, so when you will click on this hello, so it will give us the console log hello, right? Also we can pass the event object, that is a dollar event object, which is a JavaScript object basically, right? So when you click on this, so it will pass the dollar event, which is the DOM object actually. So you have to catch this event object with any of the parameters. Let's say I've cached it with the event variable, right? So whenever I'll click on this, so it will give us this event object, right? So it consists of lots of parameters. Basically this is a mouse event and the type is click, right? So this is how your event binding takes place, right? Let's say we have an input placeholder, right? And it has a type text, and now there is an input event, right, which is a built-in HTML5 event, right? On change, let's say the name, okay, on value change, this is the name of the function, right? So whenever there is any change in the value, oh actually this round base should be there, right? So this is what your input event, right? It should be within round braces, and this is the function name, right? So this function gets called, right? So as we should define that function on change event with the parameter e. Let's say we are catching the parameter of dollar event as e, right? Let's say console.log will console it, but we need to check it if we are sending that event parameter through the function, right? So this is what dollar event we have to send it. Now let's add a horizontal line, right? So this is what your input placeholder, right? So when you change the value of that input placeholder, right, if you change any of the value, that event gets fired, right? So this event gets fired, that is on change value, and we are holding that event object, right? This is what your event object, and whatever you're typing, that is there in the target section, right? inside value, parameter, PRSTUV, right? So this is what value, whatever you're typing here, so it gets reflected in this value, right? So we'll type that event e dot target dot value. Let's say value added as this, right? So whatever you type, you can get the value through the function. Is there anything that I'm missing? Okay, let's see. Value added is a, right? Then ABC, right? Every time, whenever you change the value of that input placeholder, uh, it gets fired and it will return you the value, right? So there is another thing similar to this. We can have number of inbuilt events which are present. Basically those events are HTML5 DOM events, so you can find it using, let's say, user input events Angular, right? So you can get the list of all the events on this official documentation, right? So there is one more event, that is a KeyUp event, right? So instead of input, we can have KeyUp event, right? And it will have another function, let's say on KeyUp. This is the name of the function that's holding the action of this event, right? So on KeyUp, we have to define this on KeyUp. On KeyUp. Similarly, we can have the event object, right? And then console.log and then e.type event.type, so you can directly get the type of that event. This is for key up and this is for input value change, right? So we can distinguish, right? This is what key up, right? So if you press any of the key, right? So I think there is not a type defined, so we can directly access the object and you can explore the object, right? So any of the properties of that object you can directly check, right? So you can expand it and what e dot then key, all right? So e dot key we can directly print so that we'll know which key is pressed. This is a, right? So whichever key you are pressing, the name of that key can be detected using this event, right? So similarly, if you want to restrict it on certain key name, let's say if I press enter button on that note only, this function should be called. If I want to add this condition, right? So there is an event that is called keyup dot enter, right? So whenever I'll press the enter button, right? If I press any of the keys, so it won't get fired, but when I press enter, in that case only the event gets fired, right? So these are some of the inbuilt events, so you can directly check it on this documentation where you can find lots of inbuilt events, right? Backspace, all right. So these are the event and event binding that takes place in Angular, right? So hope you liked it. Thank you so much. Keep learning.